Jain students, welcome to online English class. And today, once again, we are going to study the same chapter, the chapter number 2, The Enemy from Vistas, part 6. And for this, first of all, I am going to share the story on your screen. Let's have a look of it first. Here students, here is the story on your screen, and since the story is very long and we are going in detail, there is sufficient reason for this, as that from this session 2020-21 extract from this book will also be asked, and from where MCQ and very short answer type questions will be asked, and that's why it is very important for you to go through and understand the chapter thoroughly for getting better marks. So let us see that we are going to begin from page number 40, the last paragraph. The general shook his head. I had rather not be the test case, he said. And he felt suddenly weak and overwhelmed with the cares of his life as an official in times such as this, when repeated victory brought a great responsibilities. He had a great responsibilities. He was very successful, general, as he had got so many victories. So that's why, due to repeated victory, that he got more responsibility. He felt so, but at the same time he was suffering from a serious ailments, and that's why he believed that besides Dr. Sadao, no doctor would be able to treat him well. So he couldn't believe any other doctor except Dr. Sadao. But when Dr. Sadao went to meet him, and he told all the story of giving shelter to the enemy soldier, American enemy soldier Tom, in his house, and how he saved his life, and then as a Japanese citizen, he wanted to perform his national loyalty towards his nation, and he informed the general about his stay at his home. Then general, since he was at that time seriously ill, so he also, when Dr. Sadao told that how he had saved the life of a dying enemy, then he felt how Dr. Sadao was necessary for him, and that's why he relied more on Dr. Sadao, and he even said that certainly I can allow nothing to happen to you. Even that he had promised that he will not allow at any case, that he will not allow to Dr. Sadao to face any kind of trouble because of the enemy soldier, and that's why that he wanted to save his life for himself. Rather, here we can say that he had become a little bit self-centered, selfish. So he felt suddenly and overwhelmed. Rather, he said that I had rather not be the test case. And when Dr. Sadao suggested that except to him there are other doctors, then he told that I don't believe on anybody else except to Dr. Sadao, and that's why in that sense he told that I had rather not be the test case. Means he did not want to be the test case, means he wanted to get treatment from the doctor to whom that he believed, and it was none other than Dr. Sadao. And he also told that he had a great responsibilities, and the South Pacific Ocean, especially on the South Pacific Ocean, and it is very unfortunate that this man should have washed up on your doorstep. And he felt irritable to think that in that critical situation, while he required the services of Dr. Sadao, that another problem Dr. Sadao was facing of that enemy soldier keeping in his house, and because of that he could be in trouble. So I feel it so myself. And Dr. Sadao also said that he was also feeling, because he never wanted to treat him, and he was always in conflict, even though after saving his life that he still not feeling to save his life completely. He was not feeling comfortable. He was always in danger until till uh, enemy was there at his house. So it would be best if he could be quietly killed. And even now, you know, uh, remember this line is important, students, as it would be best if he could be quietly killed, the general said. The general suggested that it would be better that if he would be quietly killed, means he did not want that because of that doctor should be in any kind of trouble. So he wanted that he should be killed secretly, and not by you but by someone who does not know him. And he told that he will not be killed by you, rather that he had a different plan. And he said that I have my own private assassins, means killers, and suppose that I send two of them to your house tonight, or better at any night, and they could kill him. So you need know nothing about it. And then he said that in this way that you will not know anything about that, and he will be removed from there, means that enemy soldier will secretly be removed from there, and nobody will be knowing that. And remember, students, he all those things, all the secrets he wanted to maintain, all this strategy he made in order to save the life of Dr. Sadao. At any rate, he did not want that Dr. Sadao should be in any kind of trouble. And why he did not want that Dr. Sadao should be in trouble? Because he did not believe on anybody else except Dr. Sadao for his own treatment. Remember, it is all because of his self-centeredness, because of his selfishness somewhere, that he compromised somewhere. He compromised with the national loyalty, it seems. It is now warm. What would be more natural than that you should leave the outer partition, means outer door of the white man's room open to the garden while he sleeps. And now he also suggested Dr. Sadao that it would be better at night that you keep the outer door of the room of American soldier open, so that his private killers can enter into his room easily. Certainly, it would be very natural, Sadao agreed. And in fact, it is so left open every night. And then Dr. Sadao also agreed, and he said that it would be quite natural if he will be killed in that way, that nobody will be blamed, and it will look quite natural. And he told that the door, his outer door is always open at night. Good, general said. And they were very capable assassins. And he said that they were, means his private assassins, private killers, were very expert, and they make no noise, and They know the trick of inward bleeding, and even he told the speciality of those private assassins, private killers, that they know how to kill him uh, without making any noise, and if you like, I can even have them remove the body. And he told to Dr. Sadaf, if you like that, I can also tell them, means they will also be able to remove the body from your house. Sadaf considered that perhaps would be the best, excellency, and then Sadaf agreed. And he left the general's presence then, and went home thinking over the plan. And now there was a compromise between them, and they had already made the plan to remove the enemy soldier from his house. While he was coming back to his house, that he was thinking about all those plan, that how successfully it will be executed. And in this way the whole thing would be taken out of his hands. In this way he will not be responsible, and then everything will be out of his hands. And he would tell Hannah nothing, since she would be timid at the idea of assassins in the house. And he decided not to tell anything about their plan to Hannah, and yet certainly such persons were essential in an absolute state such as Japan was. And then because that Hannah was quite timid, and they should she could be scared to think about the assassins, to think about the killers, and how else could rulers deal with those who oppose them. And he was also thinking, because those such kind of private killers are essential for general the kind of situation he was facing in Japan. And he refused to allow anything but reason to be the atmosphere of his mind, as he went into the room where the American was in bed. And then while that he went into the American's room, enemy soldier's room, while he was in a bed, he was thinking about that plan. The plan was going on in his mind. He just wanted to maintain that atmosphere. He did not want to come out from that idea, and so that he could not be soft. And but as he opened the door, to his surprise, he found the young man out of bed and preparing to go into the garden. But while he entered into the house, when he found that the door of his room was opened, and surprisingly the man was out of bed. The enemy soldier was out of bed, and he was preparing to walk into the garden. What is this? Who gave you permission to leave your room? He was surprised, and surprisingly he asked that, why are you walking? And who allowed you to walk? I am not used to wait for permission. And that he happily said that he was not used to get permission from anybody. And I feel pretty good again, but will the muscles on this side always feel stiff? And he told that first time after that hit by bullet, that he was feeling better, and he was feeling pretty good. And but he told that he was suffering with the problem that he was feeling stiff on his muscles. Means American soldier was quite unaware of the strategy of the plan which had been made between Dr. Sadao and General. So, is it so? Sadao inquired surprised, and he forgot all else. And now when he came to know that he was suffering, there is some pain in his muscles, and muscle was stiff, then once again he forgot all about his plan and everything. Rather, he started focusing on his professional call. as a doctor's duty. And then he asked him that how now I thought I had provided against that. Provided against that means he did not care for that, actually, that he had overlooked that stiffness. And he lifted the edge of the man's shirt and gazed at the healing scar, and he looked at the mark of injury scar. And massage may do it if exercise does not. And he said that it will be all right with the massage will be helpful for that. Means here that we can also consider that once again, though he was making a plan along with the general to kill him on one side, on the other, when he came to know that he was suffering from some stiffness, some pain, that once again he forgot everything, and then he started doing his job as a doctor. You know how dedicated, that tells that how dedicated he was towards his duty. It won't bother me much, the young man said, and his young face was gaunt under the stubbly blonde beard. His it won't bother me much. And even since he was a soldier, so that kind of stiffness, that kind of pain, that he did not care, he told. And say, doctor, I got something I want to say to you. And then he was not worried about the stiffness of the muscles, rather that he told to doctor that he wanted to tell something to him. And he said that if I hadn't met a Japanese like you, well, I wouldn't be alive today. Means he was felt with the gratitude of Dr. Sadao, and then he revealed it in front of him, and he told that if he would not have met such a man, such an competent doctor and good fellow like Dr. Sadao, who is Japanese, I wouldn't be alive today. And then he wouldn't be, means he had given all the credit to get to be alive, to save his life. If he was alive, it is only because of Dr. Sadao, he told to him. And I know that. And Dr. Sadao bowed, but he greeted, he accepted, he heard him, but he didn't speak anything in response. And sure, I know that. And Tom kept on saying that his big, thin hands gripping a chair were white at the knuckles. I guess if all the Japs, now that another important statement that he told, these are the remarkable statements, students. In order to give your answer, when you will have to write your answer, this statement which I'm highlighting, these statements you require to mention in your answer. So please note it carefully. And I guess that if all the Japs, all the Japanese were like you, there wouldn't have been a war. Then he told that if all the Japanese are so kind, so gentle like you, so helpful like you, then there won't be any war against Japan, the enemy soldier said. Perhaps, Sadao said with difficulty, perhaps, and now I think that you had better go back to bed. But he changed the topic and he told, perhaps you are right, but now at this time you will have to go to bed to take rest. And he helped the boy back into the bed, and then bowed and good night, and said him good night. He helped him to lay down on the bed, and after saying good night, he went away from his room. Sadao slept badly that night. Time and time again that he woke, thinking he heard the rustling of the footsteps, the sound of a twig broken or stone displaced in the garden. Since he had already made the plan, and General had promised him to send two of his, assassins, killers at that night to kill uh, the enemy soldier. So that's why, though Sadao, Dr. Sadao was agreed, but even though that he was restless, he couldn't sleep at night comfortably. And he was thinking time to time, because he was awoke throughout the night, and time to time he was thinking whenever he heard the rustling footsteps, any kind of sound which was coming from the garden, the twig broken, or stone was removed uh, somewhere, or noise such as men might make who carried a burden. That he was also guessing, he was also thinking about that some men that who are carrying some luggage or something, some burden. So he was worried about that, and because of that he couldn't sleep comfortably that night, as he was thinking that it was the first night when that killer could come to kill the enemy soldier. The next morning that he had made the excuse to go first into the guest room. And although really it was very difficult for any of the doctor that to whom, if he had saved the life of someone, and how can he throw him into the jaws of death, without any feeling. So it was quite difficult for the Dr. Sadao, and Dr. Sadao was also suffering from that kind of trauma at that point of time. And then next day in the morning, that immediately that he went into his room first, and if the American were gone, he then could simply tell Hana that so the general had directed, and that he was thinking that if he would not be there, if killer would have killed him, then he could tell that matter to Hana, that what was the agreement between him and general. But when he opened the door, that he saw at once that there on the pillow was the shaggy blonde head. But when he opened the door, he saw that on the bed, that still that his head was there, and he could hear the peaceful breathing of sleep, and he closed the door again quietly, and he could hear that he was sleeping comfortably, was taking sound sleep. And then he did not disturb him, rather he closed the door quietly and came out. He is asleep, he told to Hana, and he is almost well. Sleep like that, well to sleep like that means he was gaining. He told to Hana that he is still sleeping. It means that he is gaining his health, and he is becoming healthy. And what shall we do with him? Hana whispered her old refrain. And then that Hana told to him that what will happen with him, because she was always afraid of his finding his stay, and she realizes it well that until he was staying there in their house, they will always be in danger. So she asked to Dr. Sadao that what will they do with him? I must decide in a day or two. Then doctor replied that he will decide in 1 or 2 days about that, about his fortune. But certainly the second night must be the night, and he was thinking that first night, if those assassins did not come to kill him, that's certainly they will come at the second night. And there rose a wind that night, and he listened to the sounds of the bending boughs and whistling partitions, and Hannah woke too. And then, even when he heard a slight sound from anywhere, he became awake. And Hannah woke up too. And ought we not to go and close the sick man's partition, because his door, outer door, was open and was opened. So that's why Hannah woke up and she told that we should close his door. No, Sadao said that he is able now to do it for himself. But Dr. Sadao told that no, we don't need to go and close the door, because that now he is healthy enough to close the door himself. But the next morning the American was still there. But the next morning, once again, Dr. Sadao found that American was alive and he was still there in his room. Then the third night, of course, must be the night. Now he was thinking about the third night. Now the third night will be the last night for him. The wind changed to quiet rain, and the garden was full of sound of dripping eaves and running springs. It was windy night, and then it was raining also, and Sadao slept a little better, but he woke at the sound of a crash and leaped to his feet. But with the sound of a crash, that he woke up once again. And what was that? Hannah cried. The baby woke at her voice and began to wail, and that their child also woke up, and he began to cry. I must go and see. But he held her, and then Hannah told that I should go and see that what happened. But Dr. Sadao stopped her, and would not let her move from there. Sadao, what is the matter with you? But she was unable to understand the behavior of Dr. Sadao at that time, but she could not understand anything. And Dr. Sadao told to him not to go. Don't go, rather he stopped there, not to go and see that what is happening there. And his terror infected her, and she stood breathless, waiting. There was only silence, and there was a complete silence. And now Hannah realized that Dr. Sadao was terrified, and because of this realization, she herself was feeling scared. And together they crept back into the bed. The baby between them, and then both of them went to their bed. They did not inquire, rather they went into their bed and slept. Yet when he opened the door of the guest room in the morning, there was the young man. But next morning, once again, he was worried about to him. He just first of all, in next morning when he woke up, he went into the enemy's room, and he was very gay and had already washed and was now on his feet, and now he was quite happy. When Dr. Sadao went into his room, then he found that he was quite happy. He was already washed, and now he was on his feet. He was standing, and he had asked for a razor yesterday and had shaved himself, and today there was a faint color in his cheeks. And yesterday he had asked for the razor because that he had long beard, and now that he had cleaned his beard. I'm well, and happily he said to doctor that he was quite well now. Sadao drew his kimono round his very body, his tired body, and he could not. He decided suddenly go through another night. And it was not that he cared for this young man's life. No, simply it was not worth the strain. And then now it was the time for the another night to wait for Dr. Sadao. And you are well, Sadao agreed, and he lowered his voice, and you are so well that I can think if I put my boat on the shore tonight with food and extra clothing in it, you might be able to row to that little island not far from the coast. And now see, students, from here onwards that his thinking has been changed. As promised by general to send two of his private assassins to kill him at Dr. Sadao's house, but when he waited, Dr. Sadao waited for 3 nights, and those killers did not come. Then he changed his mind and he thought of another plan. And now he told that you are well now, and he lowered his voice. You are so well that I can think if I put my boat, means he now he had changed his strategy, and now he decided to give him a safe escape, help him to escape from his house. And he told that I put my boat on the shore, that he was going to put his boat on the seashore with the food and extra clothing in it, and you might be able to row to that little island not far from the coast. And then he told him, in this way I will provide I'm providing you my own boat, and I'm putting that food and extra clothing which could be used by him. And he told that it would be better for you to row from here and reach to the island nearby from the coast. And it is so near the coast that it has not been worth fortifying, and it is very close to the Japanese coast, that island. And he told that nobody lives on it because in storm it is submerged. In that island, he told that nobody lives, there is no danger to his life there. And because that there was a danger of storm, because of a storm it was being submerged, it was drowned, island was being drowned underwater, and that's why that people don't go there. So it is completely a deserted place where that he could go and live safely. But this is not the season of storm. He said that that was not the storm season, and you could live there until you saw a Korean fishing boat pass by. And he had given an idea how to be escaped from there, and he told that Korean fishing used to pass through that way. And he told that you can stay there on that nearby island until you get a Korean fishing boat. And they passed quite near the island because the water is many fathoms deep. Water was many feet deep there, and that's why the Korean fishing boat passed through. So easily you can you can get the help from the Korean shipping boat, and in this way you will be able to escape from there. That idea Dr. Sadao himself had given to the enemy soldier in order to save his life. Now see, students, he did not first of all as a doctor he had saved his life and healed his wound, and now when he became healthy, that he also performed his duty as a citizen, as a patriot, and informed to the general. Now it was the general duty to take the action. He promised also to send two of the killers to kill him quietly at his house. But for 3 nights Dr. Sadao waited for the killers, but when they did not come, then he changed his plan, he changed his strategy and decided to help him to escape from his house, and in this way that he wanted to save his life completely. And the young man stared at him, slowly comprehending, understanding that, do I have to? He asked. Then, still, he was looking that, and surprisingly, he asked that, really, he should do that. I think so. Dr. Sadao said that yes, that he was thinking so. And you understand, it is not hidden that you are here. And he also told him to understand the seriousness of the matter, because it was not secret, it was not hidden to anyone that an enemy soldier, he was staying there at his house. An enemy American soldier was staying their house, and it means that everyone was staying at their house, that everyone was in danger. Even the enemy soldier himself was always in danger. Along with him, that doctor's family was also in danger, and that's why it was very important for him to escape from his house as earlier as possible. That's all for today, student, and now the remaining part of the story we will learn. I think that that will be the concluding part in our next online class, and till then, have a good day and thank you.